to work as hard as I can to see that happens. But have I done enough to this point? No. I've got to keep doing it.
Governor, you used 2 words in your speech today: unethical and greed. You mentioned greed twice. Do you consider Congressman Kasich to be unethical or greedy?
No, when I mentioned the word unethical, I was specifically referencing the leadership in the form of the CEO at Lehman. That's Mr. Fould. And I think if you look at what he's done and his leadership and the way they were cooking the books, it's well documented. You would have to consider that unethical. Greed, yeah, I think there's a lot of greed, and I think those who would, quite frankly, I think those who would consider themselves worthy of an income of more than $1 million a year and vote against increasing the minimum wage. I don't know that it's greed, but I think it's a value system that's out of balance.
So you're not putting those terms on Congressman Kasich, greedy?
No.
Are you going to debate Congressman Kasich?
I hope so.
You have some strong differences with him.
I hope we debate many times. I look forward to that. I don't believe there's any interaction occurred between our campaigns at this point regarding debates, but I've always debated. I look forward to debates, and I would be hugely disappointed if we don't have a number of debates during this campaign. I think debates are important.
Governor, you mentioned Enron in connection with Lehman Brothers. Do you have information that Congressman Kasich was involved with Lehman Brothers dealings with Enron?
No, but Lehman Brothers certainly was. No, I'm not implying that. I was talking about Enron as an organization. I was talking about their leadership as an organization, and Mr. Kasich was a big promoter of Lehman Brothers. He spoke glowingly, as I quoted, glowingly of their leadership, and so he was a part of that. And I think he's embarrassed by it or ashamed of it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be completely devoid from his biography. When you go back and you extract information from your biography, I think it's reasonable to ask why. And I assume it's because he's not proud of his association with Lehman Brothers and his 8 years of having worked there. And that's one of the reasons, Mark, that I continue to ask for the congressman to be more transparent with the people by releasing his income tax returns, so that we will have a picture that is more clear regarding his involvement with Lehman Brothers over those 8 years.
Governor, there was no mention specifically to 400,000 job losses in the state in your speech today. To the unemployed in Ohio, what do you say to them? What's the plan to get them back?
Well, I talk about that issue all the time, every day. Yesterday, you may have heard me. I was in Lake County talking about this. I certainly talked about job loss. I talk about job loss all the time. And I talk about how tragic it is, how sad it is, how deeply people are hurting. It's the primary concern of my life right now is trying to find ways to get this economy back on track, improved, and jobs to be created. Some wonderful news, front page of the Columbus Dispatch this morning, Huntington Bank, 500 jobs. Yesterday, I was in Lake County, 300 new jobs there. So nearly every day, certainly every week, and sometimes multiple times a week, we are starting to see evidence of investments in our state and jobs being created in our state. We will get back to a more normal economic cycle eventually. It's going to take a while, and that's why I work at it so hard. I'm leaving here as soon as you folks finish with me. I'm going to Pike County. I'm going to Waverly, Ohio. I'm going to be meeting with the folks down there at the cabinet company, talking to them about what we might be able to do in terms of trying to find a new owner for that facility and how we might be able to maintain those jobs there. So I'm certainly concerned about job loss, and I think it's tragic what people are having to deal with.
How concerned are you about what they're calling the tsunami that's coming, the $8 billion budget shortfall? As you look ahead, how concerned are you?
Well, I don't know that we'll have that kind of tsunami. We could have, but I don't know that we will have, and I'm working to prevent that from happening. First of all, we're trying to get the economy back on track so that it's improved somewhat. It's not going to cover the entire projected shortfall. I'm continuing to talk with our friends at the federal level regarding the need for additional education resource funding and state stabilization funding. And we're looking at other things we might be able to do to raise revenue, whether it's the liquidation of certain state assets but we're looking at everything because my obligation, if I'm the governor when the next budget is submitted, is to submit it in a balanced form, and I will do that. And so during these coming weeks and months, in fact, we've already started looking at options that would be available to us, and we'll consider everything.
Speaking of revenue, we didn't hear anything today about Congressman Kasik's tax plan. Why was that? Are we expecting to hear that down the line? What's the story there?
Well, I mean, I would like for you to direct that question to Congressman Kasich. It's his idea, and I cannot provide the answers for him, but I am interested in what his answers may be.